All right. Good afternoon. Happy Monday. I told you I'd get back on here. I'm doing the stars of Queen Consort Camilla. And this is just a brief analysis. Um, Her chart was fairly easy compared to Kanye West. I mean, that there's just a lot to digest with his chart. She doesn't have mental illness either, and so there's no like bipolar disorder or anything like that. A little bit different stars, not just a little, a lot. Anyway, her chart is posted there for you all to look at while I go through this. And I will post the newsletter on astrologywitch.com as soon as I'm finished with this broadcast. So, Queen Camilla was born on July 17th, 1947, in London, England. Now, she is born in the sun sign of Cancer, with her moon dignified in Cancer as well. In her first house, she has a stellium in Cancer. You're going to hear me repeat these words a lot throughout her reading. And this means that when you have 3 or more planets residing in one house, you have a stellium. I have a stellium in my first in Capricorn. So she has 4 planets residing in one house, the first house, called a stellium. She has the sun, this is her outer expression. She has the moon, her emotions. She has Venus, which is love. And she has Mercury, which is communication, all in Cancer. Her rising sign, which is the hidden face that we all show the world. Our rising sign is so when you're reading your own horoscope, you don't just want to read your sun, you want to read your rising as well, because it will resonate with you. As for Camilla, her rising sign is the hidden face that she shows the world, and it's in Leo in the second house of wealth and money. This means that she displays self-confidence, a generous, loyal, and affectionate person or personality. She has a charm about her, and she is cheerful and capable of being a successful social butterfly, which throughout the years in Great Britain she was. Souls with Leo ascendants are most often physically attractive, and I'm sure, even though she's older now, in her younger days, some may consider her physically attractive. This usually means that they have a constant flow of potential sexual partners into their lives. They must learn to exercise discrimination in choosing sexual partners, and remember that what's inside the person is much more important than their physical appearance. Now, when I say this is probably pertaining more to Camilla in her younger days, not now, and maybe not even for the last 20 years. This is her in her 20s, maybe 30s, possibly 40s. Now let's move on to her dragon's tail. You will see on the chart her natal dragon's head. The north node is in Gemini, 12th house. And her tail, the south node, is in Sagittarius, the 6th house. Now, anytime you have a dragon's head in a 3rd or a 12th house, the head, the tail too, but the head, what that means is sometimes our minds are constantly going that we cannot shut our minds off. Remember, the 3rd house is the mental clarity, and the 12th house is the deep subconscious mind. Still rules the mind, just in a different house and aspect. But a dragon's tail, let's talk about her tail first, okay? Because this is her karmic residue. A dragon's tail in Sagittarius will either bring a hatred for animals or a deep love for them, especially horses. Now, on a side note here, Donald Trump has a dragon's head in Gemini and a tail in Sagittarius. And I can see from his stars, he hates animals. Okay. With Camilla, now I have this placement as well in my chart. Mine's a hidden dragon, but I have this placement. And my love for animals, I love animals more than human beings. That's just me. But with Camilla, deep down, she kind of feels the same way. Her dragon's tail in Sagittarius, like I said, either loves animals or hates them. But you also know Camilla through the ages and through the years. She loves horses. Her and Charles used to ride together. So she has a deep love and affection for animals, horses and dogs. In past lifetimes, Camilla has been a compulsive perfectionist and overly critical of others. During this lifetime, the stars want her to learn more about being compassionate and forgiving of human flaws. She has in the past undergone periods of forced isolation, I'm sure through the Diana years that didn't put her in very good spotlight, which help her to become more tolerant of the differences in other people and their cultures. Now, side note before I go on, I think it was in my Diana broadcast um, I was speaking about Diana, and I was also talking about um, the disapproval of Harry and Meghan, and the color of the skin came up. Now, I said I could clearly pinpoint that this came from Charles and Camilla. And the reason I say that is sometimes with a certain placements, they have to learn to appreciate other cultures, if that makes any sense. And when sometimes with the dragon's tail and Sagittarius, it's about all about the codification of thought, following the good book and what the good book says only. Okay, and being indoctrinated. And unfortunately, this is where Camilla is. She is indoctrinated, and she doesn't understand that there are other cultures outside of her own. Then, if she just took some time to embrace those cultures, she could learn and grow. Um, she needs to become more tolerant of the differences in other people and their cultures. If she wants a good long life, then she will need a more positive attitude to help preserve good health. And with a dragon's tail in the sixth house, the health in the house of health, she will have like hip problems, back problems, lower lumbar issues, things like that, health wise. Because especially since she has the tail sitting in the sixth house, that's the house of health. This can also represent, hip surgery, broken hips, things like that. Now, in this lifetime, her natal dragon is in Gemini, and it is in the 12th house. So this is a woman whose mind is constantly going. The wheels are always turning. She's probably a step ahead on things, planning in her mind. And she has spent many lifetimes seeking knowledge and freedom, and has developed definite philosophies about life. She's lived these lifetimes seeking personal liberty with little interest or involvement in the society around her or the common people. During this lifetime, she will learn to recognize the benefits of interactions with others. And she's going to learn that now that she's Queen Consort. She cannot escape that, making those appearances. She needs a broader understanding of the universe, as Gemini is always full of curiosity. A dragon's head in Gemini, they are the truth seekers in some way. They get to the core of things, they seek it out. It's about curiosity. So there is hope for her. In the second house, there is a rising, which we already discussed. There is also Saturn, karmic ties, and Pluto, drama. This is Camilla's second tour of a privileged life, and at this time, she landed old Windsor money. But with that being said, her love for Charles is real and true and pure. Well, maybe not so pure, but it has been that way for the past 50 years. Now, a Pluto in Leo, which she possesses in her second house, will create and has created for her major drama throughout the years for Camilla in regards to wealth, possessions, and her own self esteem. Um, with the English, it's always the stiff upper lip and keeping up appearances. So obviously, she's not going to show her emotions in public. but behind closed doors, this was very traumatic for her as well. Um, Moving on to the fifth house of love, and I want to talk about this for just a minute. This is going to be a side note as well. I didn't put this in my notes, but moving on to the fifth house of love, please remember in alchemy and even in astrology, there are the laws of attraction. Okay. And in the laws of attraction, the fifth and the seventh house represent those attractions. Water attracts water, fire attracts fire. Okay. So if you count on your hands, July, August, September, October, November, you will see that she resides in Charles' first house. And it is the laws of attraction. There's no getting away from that. It's the house of love and romance. She has Jupiter in Scorpio, and that falls right on Charles' first house, Sun in Scorpio. She is his rock. Without her, he cannot cope. It'll be very difficult for him. I'm not going to say that they're soulmates, and I'll get into that in a minute. With Jupiter and Scorpio, though, Camilla benefits from this in a way. There's through inheritance and through wealth, through marriage and love, and you can see that. Now, like I said, this is a very brief analysis of her stars, but in closing, and after looking at Charles and Camilla's charts, Cancer always attracts Scorpio. This is what I was trying to say a minute ago. Cancer always attracts Scorpio, fifth house of love, and Camilla is very much a true Cancer with a Cancer stellium. Charles provides the security for Camilla, the Cancer, because that's what Cancer rules, security. And Camilla provides loyalty, support, and a touch of luck for Charles. Now, they are not soulmates, but they are definitely twin flames. They are very compatible for each other. Whether anyone likes it or not, love is love, okay? And sometimes it can't be stopped. It comes in like a wrecking ball, and that's exactly what it did for Diana's marriage. But both are getting up there in years, and even though Camilla is older by a few years than Charles, he does have some issues with swelling of the feet, the hands, and it is obvious to the general public. I mean, he's not fooling anyone, and even through the him becoming king, he was having issues with a pen. It was because of his hands. It was Camilla that was there helping him. She's his rock. Now, I do feel Camilla is a little healthier than Charles, but Camilla does have Saturn in Leo. And when you have Saturn in Leo, heart ailments or heart attack is possible. I'm not saying that's how she's going to go, but that could be how she goes. Now, there are many psychics, astrologers, and mediums who feel King Charles will only serve Great Britain for 2 to 5 years. I do see this too. The great seer himself saw him abdicating the throne, and I will get into that at a later date. I have a lot of other readings to do. I have to tend to my clients, so I'm going to take a few days off from doing any kind of recordings on people in the general public. But if you did listen to my new moon forecast, I said that Platonic energy, maybe it was my Patreons, we're in Platonic energy starting today. And it actually took one of my favorite actors, I believe Jordan Lindsay. He was in American Horror Story. He was in Will and Grace. He died in a car accident. So this energy that we're in today always takes the rich and the famous actors. I'm so heartbroken. I loved him. Anyway, like I said, I am waiting for a book to arrive from a client, and it has to do with Nostradamus. And even in that book, it talks about him abdicating the throne. And I will get more into this at a later date. But for now, This is just a little brief analysis of Camilla, Queen Camilla Consort. And I will get back in November and do more, like what's his name? Prince Andrew, Fergie, if I have time. Right now, for the United States, we're focused on this election. And if you think that politics is crazy in Britain, just get ready, because the United States is getting ready to say to Britain, hold my pint, hold my beer. I'm going to show you how nutty it can get. So, Great Britain, hang in there. I know politics is crazy, but we're going to show you one up soon. And that is written in the stars. Unfortunately, after the election, there's going to be a lot of chaos. So I'm focusing on that right now more than doing other charts of the royal family. But I will eventually get to, and I have done William and Kate's as well. And there's some things I'm seeing in their chart that are a little disturbing, and I'm a little worried. I'll get into this more at a later date. Okay, I do promise. November, I will get into this for you. But for now, that was just a brief analysis of Camilla. All of you out there, have a great week ahead. Be safe. We are under negative energy for the next couple of days. New moon or not, we are going into negative energy. So just be aware of your surroundings. Check your bank accounts. The cyber hackers are around and want to steal your money. Beware. Blessings, everybody, and I will see you soon. Ciao.